Ideally, if you have returned to the series, you're probably one who hopes to build a stable foundation and the quest to have an enriching life. So, welcome to Personal Progression. This is a direct follow up to the de isolationism series. Not necessary to listen to those, but there's very much a formula at work here. So, if you want the totality, you can always listen to those. If not, this personal progression can stand alone, but on its own 2 feet, if you will. I feel it a compelling necessity to jump into this talk with some thoughts on creative imagination. So, when we envelop ourselves in our imaginations, the tried and true thought that in this place anything is possible springs to life. While the thought itself is true enough, what happens when we try to redistribute our imaginations into the objective world? Without doubt, through art, music, writing, or any number of creative endeavors, injection of our ideas into the outer world is possible. However, even the finest works of art are usually so filtered, so ground up, by the time they reach objectivity, they generally have no resemblance to their original form. For just a moment, we can set creativity aside and talk about objective possibilities. Subjectively speaking, creating situations in your inner life are not plagued by the same rigmarole that penetrating the objective world is. Of course, this thought simulation runs on a narrow view of the individual spectrum. For simplicity, we'll inject the holographic principle here and say what applies to large applies to small. The question remaining is, what is the go-between in reconciling thought and action? How can we unite the subjective to the objective, the large to the small, the above to the below? The only answer is choice. When we think about probabilities or the outcome of a given situation, we actually create a path. You can call it quantum tunneling if you want. Makes no difference. When we arrive at the crossroads in decision making, we can see laid out before us the multifarious directions we can take. It is imperative to plan our next maneuver without dilly-dally. When comes the moment of choosing, from the infinite number of ways we can direct our path, we narrow our focus on one particular decision. From this point, the nascent point, is born the new infinity of choices. Every moment we create new pathways to travel. Every moment we reverse engineer the former path to zero, turning at the nascent point to create the next step onward to infinity. This, our lives, is the road that does not end. All those who wish to refute free will, the ability to choose beyond this way or that thing, or the abyss in between, have a singular focus. This focus is directed toward laziness. They don't want to do or choose anything. Deniers of free will point the blame at not having a choice. That way, they can continue on in their static haze, taking responsibility for nothing. This leads to a feeling of recurrence in one's life. The same things happen day in and day out. Instead of realizing they're to blame, they preach about boredom and how much life sucks. Let it be known, weak choices make for recurrence and weak lives. If a better life is desired, an individual such as yourself needs to make strong decisions. Think about people you know who are wishy-washy. Then just imagine asking them to make a decision, let alone a forward-thinking one. What is the outcome in this scenario? What is the result if someone comes to you at decision time? What course do you take? You possess the ability to choose whatever you want in life. Free will is yours to command. The very will unfree people deny is the very thing that creates the next steps in reality. If you lack imagination, then you lack the skill to create new possibilities. By choosing the same course day in and day out, you limit your very potential. In our commitment to truth and change, we owe it to ourselves to make empowered choices. So tell me, what path do you choose on the road to personal progression?